Hey, what is going on, you Smurf Color King? That is right, Crushing Hammer are still really good. So I was playing some Dragapult in a tournament the other day, and I got a challenge to play one of my viewers' lists. By the way, if you don't follow the live stream, you should go check it out, twitch.tv/AzulGG. I stream every day except Tuesdays. But yeah, I was playing in a tournament the other day on the stream, first link in the description, and had a challenge for one of my viewers to, play a Dragapult deck. And I was like, okay, I'll play the Dragapult list. So they sent me the list and they said I could change 5 cards. I actually have accidentally changed 6, but that's neither here nor there. And I was like, well, you already have 2 Yelgrunt in here, and you got some Fan of Waves. I'm going to play Crushing Hammer. So I fit 4 Crushing Hammer into the list. I did cut one of the Yelgrunts, and this is a little bit different from the list that I ended up playing for the tournament. I cut the Amazing Rare Jirachis. I've added in a 1/1 Altaria to try that, and switched up the supporter count a little bit, added more supporters and more Pokemon Search and Quick Balls and Fog Crystals. But the main point of the deck is it's Dragapult VMAX, which has been doing really well lately. Henry Brand, our current world champion, won a tournament the other day with an Inteleon build, which I'll probably come at you guys with the list for that in a video or two, because I think that build is really cool as well. There's so many cool builds for the same archetype. Like Zacian is a big one. There's so many Zacian builds. There's a really cool Zacian build that was played in that tournament the other day by Daichi, I believe, where it was just like 4 Zacian, 2 Zamazenta, and then a Rotom Phone, a Rangaroo engine in there as well. And that build was super cool as well. So I might come at you guys with a video covering that one as well. There's so many cool builds for like the same archetype. Multiple different Dragapult builds. Like I said, a ton of different Zacian builds to look at. But yeah, I played this in the tournament. I said Dragapult in general has been doing really well. So I hit a mirror match or two, and the Crushing Hammers and the fans were super good in the mirror match, of course. But yeah, the Crushing Hammers felt insanely good. I was like, okay, there's already this initial energy disruption, a Yelgrunt, a couple Fan of Waves. I was like, I'm just going to put more energy disruption in the deck, add some Crushing Hammers, and they were insanely impactful. And I don't even know if, Dragapult plus Crushing Hammers is the deck that can get the most value out of Crushing Hammers, that fits it the easiest, and then has the most to gain from your opponent not having the energy they need in play on their next turn, whatever. Crushing Hammer just felt really, really good. And it almost feels a little bit scary because we're going to get back to that format where every deck has 4 Crushing Hammer in it. I hope not. I hope it's maybe decent in some decks. But yeah, it felt insanely powerful the other day in the tournament. Whenever I would hit a heads, it just felt like it had a huge impact on the game, gave me so much time to work with and play with, and yeah, it was pretty crazy, pretty scary how good it was. But besides that, we got 4 Path to the Peak in here to help against the Shadow Rider matchup specifically. This is good in other matchups. We're not very ability reliant from our V Pokemon, but our opponents are going to probably be a little bit more so, or if we do play up against that Shadow Rider, they're going to definitely be reliant on their abilities. And then everything else in here is pretty straightforward, nothing too ridiculous. Like I mentioned, I do have the Altaria in here, so we have like a 1 of Raihan, the Team Yelgrunt, a couple Boss, Research Marnie, of course, and then some Nets, because we're not playing Inteleon, but we still want some extra ping damage to combo with the Max Phantoms damage that we can put on the bench and help clean up knockouts and so on. So 2 Zigzagoons and 4 Scoop Up Net. And yeah, that's it. That's the list. So don't have too much else to say. So let's go ahead and let's get into some games. All right, let's get it. We're getting into our first one. We did win the coin flip, and we will go first. We're going to try and get off that turn 2 Max Phantom. Mulligan off the rip here. Yeah, trying to get up that turn 2 Max Phantom, and then just kind of see how the game plays out from there. But yeah, that's going to be our goal initially. So going first, it's usually not too hard to get down a Dragapult and an energy, especially with Fog Crystal and all that stuff helping us out. There's Dragapult, there's energy, so yeah, plenty of good stuff here. Question B, do I want to open up the Swablu? I think with the Air Balloon in hand, I am down to open up the Swablu here, just in case our opponent is, I don't know, gonna do something or playing something funky where they can get like some turn 1 damage. I don't really want them to hit. They are playing Suicune, which means they could definitely get some turn 1 damage off here. So yeah, when I get this in play, I kind of want to go ahead and grab Guru here, because Guru is just really good at helping us. Oh, Guru is prized. I guess we're gonna go with the Dragapult V then instead. And I'm down to go ahead and throw the Air Balloon here right now. But I'm going to leave it in the active. And if they do get the turn 1 KO, that's kind of fine. It's kind of like whatever. But that way, if they Marnie us, the Air Balloon was already there. We can make sure we can move it. And we don't have to like maybe use a Scoop Up Net that we wouldn't want to use to move the Swablu. So I think it's just like kind of best overall to play it out this way. So yeah, Guru would have been great there, because if our opponent Marnies us, we would have put the Research on top. And then we're guaranteed a draw supporter, which can just be huge. Just huge to sometimes just be like, all right, I have a draw supporter. That's just like such a big deal sometimes. So I would have loved to have had the Guru in the deck there. Unfortunately, it's prize. Second Dragapult V, not too shabby. And if we didn't top deck the Research, we definitely would have used Crobat this turn. We see the Suicune. There's a decent amount of time. There is Path to the Peaks in these Suicune decks. So, and they got the turn 1 Melanie here. So Swablu's going down, which kind of stinks, to be honest, because I really wanted to try and get some value out of the Swablu and use that, get into the Altaria. But yeah, sometimes you just have the Melanie combo on the first turn like our opponent does. And yeah, we're going to lose the Swablu here. Hopefully it doesn't hit us too hard later on. I don't really mind losing the prize card so much as losing the Swablu specifically. If they were going to KO a Zigzagoon here, I'd be like, all right, I don't really care too much about that. And our focus here is definitely going to be this Sobble on my opponent's bench. So we definitely want to get a Zigzagoon. Ideally, get the VMAX, get the Zigzagoon. I guess one play I could have tried to prepare myself a little bit better for was if they do get the Swablu KO, I could have held the Air Balloon. And then I would actually be able to at least Jet Assault if I whiff the VMAX, which it is possible I do at this point. I could definitely whiff the VMAX here. So could have been better, a little bit better to maybe play it out that way. That's holding the Air Balloon. But my thought process here was just like, well, if they Marty me, I want to make sure this Swablu can move. And there's a decent chance that they Marty me on this first turn for sure. So I don't really regret it too much. Horror Energy is definitely better than the basic water. So let's just get a VMAX. Oh, 2 VMAXs. Crobat is in the deck. Now, once again, like I mentioned, I kind of want to be aggressive about getting out the bat if, and we're kind of in one of those situations, like my opponent could put down a Pat to the Peak next turn, but they might not. They might not, but they could. So Tool Scrapper might be useful, but currently can't burn it out of the hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the Tool Scrapper. I think I'm just gonna go for the Goon Ping. We're pretty set up here. I'm just gonna go for a Goon Ping on a Sobble, just get a knockout. We'll get a prize card off the, or a card to work with off the top. I'll even go ahead and burn this Evolution Incense and just grab an Altaria to the hand, which would have been great to evolve this turn, of course, but can't get it all. This is one of those games where we're not getting it all. But KOing the Sobble could be a big deal. Get that out of play. Don't let them get to those Drizzles as easily. If they can't get to the Drizzles as easily, they can't get to the Inteleon as easily, which is like the scary parts when they get those Inteleons out. So try and avoid that as much as possible. And they got a Marnie off the prize cards. And we would have been okay for like 2 or 3 turns, right? Because let's say our opponent doesn't Marnie us at all. We play through our next turn, then my opponent's going to have definitely an idea that my hand is not that aggressive because I just wouldn't play a draw supporter. I just would like go like attach attack, right? So they would probably play it a little bit slower and avoid Marnie and me. I'm sure they want to be using Melanie anyways. But from there, we have 2 energy for the next Dragon Ball VMAX. This one is going to attack at least 1 more time. So we'd be good here for like 2 or 3 turns. So it really wouldn't be that big of a deal, to be honest, if my opponent was like, we're not Martying us and we just didn't get a draw supporter. But in this situation, got the Marty off the prize card. So it's that much better, right? It's that much better. We're in that much better of a spot and we'll be just fine. Here comes the shady dealings from my opponent. If I had to guess, yeah, Melanie is probably on the menu and is going to look to set up that Inteleon VMAX. Now, I really want my opponent to actually evolve one of these into a VMAX or like overcommit a little bit and put 2 energy on one of them, because then that can just be kind of my focus with my max phantom damage. I can just like start, yeah, and there we go, 2 energy on Inteleon. They could have split the energy up. They could have split them up and been like, okay, which one, whatever one you focus with max phantom, I'm just not going to make a VMAX. But my opponent commits the 2 energy to 1. So now, very easy for me to just go ahead and try and focus this one down, put all of my damage onto that. And we get a Marnie here, which is great. Or we have the Marnie here, which is great as well, because opponent's got a pretty big hand. So disrupting that is nice as well. Got a Crushing Hammer. Can we get any value out of it? Answer's yes. That's a very big hit there. That could be huge. And then Max Phantom. Yeah, but now it's easy for me to pick which Pokemon to put my damage on here. There's one Inteleon with energy, and that's what I'm most afraid of out of anything. And depends where I mean, they could go into Suicune this next turn, and that might change up how we want to play out our next attack. And they might not even KO this Dragapult VMAX this turn, actually. They could whiff. I was really hoping for a Scoop Up Net to get the Zigzagoon out of play to take away the option of the Blizzard. But even without the Blizzard, if they hit with I would like prefer if they hit with a VMAX this turn, I think, with 3 prize cards left. That would have been probably a little bit better on my side, but this is still looking great. Another thing that's really great about Dragon Ball VMAX right now is the amount of Inteleon engines that are out there. And there's the Concede. Marnie hit him hard. Once again, we limited the Sobbles in play just with that first Sobble KO, and then maybe my opponent went out of their way to not bench another Sobble because they didn't want to give me another free prize card through that, and then we hit him with the Marnie. They draw into Drizziles, Level Balls. Those are not outs to supporters or anything useful. That's why another reason Dragon Ball is so good right now. KOing Sobbles is just so good when everyone, or so many decks, are using this Inteleon engine. All right, here we go again. Triple pair in that mulligan there. Hopefully we get a basic on this one. We actually got a couple basics, so we have some options here. What would I be most comfortable with my opponent KOing? I'm gonna lean towards a Rangaroo. Maybe we should take a little bit better look at their mulligan there. I could let them hit a Dragapult, especially depending on what they're playing. They might not be able to KO it, and I might know that. So let's open the Dragapult here, especially because I have out to another Dragapult in the hand. So I think I'm comfortable with this. And we're probably going to have to Crobat on this first turn. We could Primate Wisdom first. So what are we up against here? Duraladon, Zamazenta. All right, a couple different characters out here, and a pretty aggressive start for my opponent so far. The big thing here would be, do I even have Crobat in my deck? That'd be a big question here. Go ahead and play the Quick Ball. Crobat's here, so we're gonna grab that, and I kind of want to play the Yell Grunt here. Like, I would be fine with playing it. The question is, what would I want to Yell Grunt? Probably the Aurora. So let's play this Crushing Hammer first. Let's get aheads. Okay. Just resetting their energy and forcing them to discard another card could be a big deal as well. Throw this down. Throw this down. Yeah, don't mind Yell Grunting. And then, yeah, Crobat for 5. Hopefully just find an energy. And this is one of those situations, where we didn't find an energy. So that's not good. What would I want to top deck? Could also shuffle the top deck. Path to the Peak can be very strong in this matchup. We might want to be aggressive with that. I don't mind. I would kind of lean toward just wanting to slow down my opponent again. No energy still. Going to be aggressive with the path. And then pass, and I guess we're looking for a shred on the following turn. This can get us the Altaria, which is great, which means maybe I should have put that on top of the deck, actually. I maybe should put the Evolution Incense on top of the deck, because that would mean if they do Marnie me, once again, trying to play around Marnie, we get the Evolution Incense, which gets the Altaria, then we probably waste them again into a draw supporter, and we're kind of cruising from there. Yeah, so maybe I want to lean towards that. Looks like a pretty rough hand for my opponent. Another Crushing Hammer for us, another Tails for us. Dragapult VMAX. I'm going to go ahead and Evolution Incense out the Altaria. And I can go ahead and save the Path to the Peak, I think. So I can go Tempting Tune here, Research on top. And I kind of don't want to lose the Goon here. I think the Path to the Peak is going to be most important to deal with. I mean, got to get through the Dauntless Shield, got to get through the other ability. And I can go ahead and Goon Ping, probably hit the thing on the bench. Yeah, save that Path to the Peak. I don't really need to get another Dragapult. I really just want an energy here. Got the energy. Perfect. Another Crushing Hammer. So go ahead and throw that out at my opponent. Yeah, got a heads. Another Dragapult down. And then, yeah, just shred for 60. So once again, energy disruption doing some work here. Our opponent has 0 energy in play. Of course, they didn't play a draw supporter on their last turn. But these guys can be kind of scary once they get set up and get going against us. Because, yeah, Dauntless Shield. Can't hit them with VMAXs. We do play 4 Paths of the Peak. So that's why we protected that in that last turn. Fog Crystal. I'm going to go ahead and grab a Basic Psychic, throw that down, throw this down, and I think I'm going to go through the same motions here. Going to net this, Goon Ping, yes, hit the benched dude again. Altaria, we're going to put a Research on top, and then once again, Primate Wisdom, save the Path to the Peak. I'm not too, with how far ahead we are here, I'm not like feeling like I really need to hold on to the Raihan here, so we're just going to continuously kind of chain this Path to the Peak back into the deck and make sure we keep having it in case my opponent replaces my Stadium. Fan of Wave's not going to do anything. That's why I was like a little bit debating on even using the Crushing Hammer on the previous turn. I was like, well, I could Crushing Hammer here, or I could try and leave the special energy in play. Try and get more value out of the Fan of Waves. But I'm sure they play probably 4 Auroras. So we should be able to still find some value from the Fan. Here comes a Quick Ball. Now, this would normally be able to get my opponent Crobat. Oh, no! They grab the Crobat, and Path to the Peak strikes again. Shutting down the Dauntless Shield, stopping my opponent's Crobat. They finally top deck into a draw support, but unfortunately their draw support is locked out, and yeah, Path to the Peak doing work there. My opponent, of course, really slow start, but even once they drew that Quick Ball, Path to the Peak shuts down the abilities, keeps that out of play. That's one of like besides the Crushing Hammer being, you know, some disruption against my opponent, 4 Path to the Peak can be pretty good disruption against a lot of decks. We see it right there. Takes away that out from my opponent there, and they're just not able to draw any cards. Okay, we got a little bit of a cheesy dub in that last one, but we'll see how this one goes. Opponent is going first again. I think I mentioned it in my last video. This is the exact same start that we just had. I was leaning towards the Dragapult start, but I don't want it to get hit. Maybe I do go with the Guru. Last turn I was fine with the Dragapult, but I think I had an out to another Dragapult V in the hand, so that made me a little bit more fine with it, I guess. Like, I was a little bit more, all right, it's not that bad. We're up against Shadow Riders. So Shadow Riders are a pretty tough matchup, and this matchup basically comes down, or it feels tough. I don't actually know what I would consider the matchup percentage to be. Maybe it's close to a 50-50 overall. It feels tough because it feels like we really get rolled when Path to the Peak doesn't stick. And even when Path to the Peak sticks, it can definitely feel, you know, if they get like a turn or two of abilities, it still feels like we barely win. So yeah, it really comes down to, can we find Path to the Peak? And even if we do find Path to the Peak, will it stick? Is a big thing. Will it stick, and will it stick for long enough to really give us a couple turns of where our opponent's just like not one-hit KOing us with Alchemy VMAX or getting enough energy in play for the Shadow Riders to one-hit KO us? Yeah, it can get a little bit tricky. But if we get there, if we get to that point, we're usually in a fine spot. So we'll see how it goes. We got the Swablu turn 1 and the Dragapult. Probably not going to play this Evolution. Instead, just going to Marnie, because I want to be able to protect myself with the Primate Wisdom. But we'll see if we top deck, see if that changes anything. Path to the Peak could get aggressive with it, and there's really no reason not to, even though it'll take away the option of our Crobat. If it sticks, that means my opponent is not doing nothing, but they're probably doing less than we are. So, Fog Crystal, Quick Ball. I think I will Fog for another Dragapult V. Check the deck real fast. The Altaria's in there, stuff like that. And now, yeah, we're going to Primate Wisdom this Marnie. Once again, like as protection against my opponent's Marnies. So now if they Marnie us, we can get that. I'm also going to put a Goon down here. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit the Calyrex V. It's just nice to have a Goon in play. So if we draw into like a bunch of nets with a Research or something, we have something good to use the nets on. Of course, we can like net Guru or the Altaria, but that's usually not quite as good. So it's nice to just kind of have that. And like if we keep this hand on our next turn, we'll net the Guru, of course, to get the Dragapult into the active. But yeah, it's just nice to have a Goon in play, being like, all right, if you get nets and you need to use them, let me know. I'm here for you. So my opponent, really slow draw there. Really slow. So I don't want to Marnie them. So I'm going to start with Primate Wisdom Marnie and see what we draw into. Another Scoop Up net. But I can just go ahead and knock out their active and see where the game goes from here. Throw this down. And then just Jet Assault, take the KO. I don't really have to do anything else besides this. They are going to maybe be able to hit me if they just have a Psychic Energy. Of course, they can hit me. But I don't think I'm going to get knocked out or anything next turn. Or pretty unlikely, or impossible, unless they have like a ton of Articunos in their deck. On this next turn, we probably want to find a VMAX, though, and start swinging with that. But I'm going to give myself like one more turn to find like a Research. If we don't find it, then oh well. Not the end of the world. We'll have to Marnie my opponent. But yeah, we can go with Primate Wisdom, the Quick Ball, I guess. See what we get. Another Path to the Peak. Don't want to Quick Ball away Path to the Peak. I also just don't want to Jet Assault, though. I think we have to Marnie here. Gonna pick up the Guru, throw down the Guru again to get more use out of it. Not gonna Quick Ball the Path to the Peak, but yeah, we have to Marnie here, unfortunately. I didn't want to, but we need some stuff. We need some new stuff. So we kind of have to. It's one of those situations where you don't want to do it, kind of have to do it. Crushing Hammer here is a Tails. I'm going to go ahead and Primate Wisdom away the Quick Ball. Don't really need the Quick Ball here. We'll see what we get. A Goon, not terrible. Fog Crystal, going to go ahead and grab myself a Psychic Energy for next turn. That way, also, now I'm not top decking. They did this on purpose to like not top deck the Quick Ball anymore. Don't want to top deck that. And we only hit for 60 here, which is, to be honest, not that great. Could have hit for way more. Would have loved to hit for way more. And yeah, unfortunately, I had to Marnie my opponent as well. So wasn't able to quite get things going how we wanted to. Didn't get the Dragon Ball VMAX. Couldn't find the Altaria to hopefully, or to try and find Research specifically over using the Marnie. So kind of gave our opponent an out back into this one. And yeah, there's the Research from my opponent. So they're back into it all of a sudden. The path was working. They were kind of stuck in a hand, but at the end of it all, if my opponent just had an energy and I didn't Marnie them, they just KO my Dragapult, and then I'm stuck with nothing. So I kind of have to do that play. I don't want to do it, but we don't always get to do what we want. Sometimes we got to do something different to give ourselves a better chance to win the game. But I don't think we're out of this one by any means or anything like that. Ooh, all right, the Trading Core coming into play feels pretty bad. They only have one Underworld door to start using. We got to find another Path to the Peak, though. That's literally what this matchup is all about, is simply just Path to the Peak. So we got to find another one, and we really got to hope that one sticks, because their board is starting to get scary. Triple V down, or 2 Vs and a VMAX, and they got the Alchemy V down, so they have a ton of potential next turn to just kind of pop off and take over this game. So got to get it here. Got to get it. Let's see what we get. Top decked a Marnie. I almost want to play the Marnie to limit my opponent's hand size. I think we're going to start to focus the Alchemy here. Yeah, I'm down to Marnie, limit my opponent's hand size, because once again, it does kind of have to come down to us kind of winning a little bit. It's almost cheesy is like the way I have to, or want to put it. Like, we do have to get a little bit cheesy here to win, to be honest. So I'm gonna start with Primate Wisdom, the Scoop Up Net, see what we get. And then I can Evolution Incense to shuffle the top deck. We got a research for next turn, which is great. And then, yeah, Evolution Incense to shuffle the top deck. And the reason I didn't attach before that is because I have access to Training Court, so I was hoping if I get a Horror Energy, that's better than a basic Psychic, but at the end of the day, I can always just use this Training Court. So we got the Path to the Peak back in play. We disrupted their hand a little bit with that Marnie. Got some Crushing Hammers to work with now here as well. We're going to start to remove this energy off the bench. One kind of force this active. VMAX double heads is beautiful. And yeah, Max Phantom, get a nice hit in here, remove a couple energy from play, and start to soften up this cake a little bit more. Because if I can't find the VMAX, this thing is quite a bit weaker, 40 less HP than these Vs. So we can start to pick this off maybe even with just the Max Phantom. Oof, another Training Court immediately, but the double Crushing Hammerheads might slow them down enough. We'll see. It's getting to the point where they could easily excel out they could get a VMAX online, one-hit KO us, and then we don't have a follow-up Dragapult. So then from there, they could go into like an Adornment for the turn, reset up a bunch of energy in play, and then next turn knock us out with the VMAX again. So it's looking pretty bad. I'm not going to lie. Looking like we're in a rough spot. I think it's going to come down to here. Does my opponent, have the stuff to pull off the knockout this turn? If they don't get the knockout this turn, I think there's a chance for us to get the dub here. But Articuno's going back, another V's going back. I'm expecting they probably have a Marnie or a Research here. We'll wait and see. They got a Crobat. That's not bad either. For sure, not bad to have a Crobat either. Here comes the Evolution Incense, so another VMAX comes out. They start to chain more energy, and I think you guys get the point where I'm saying this really does come down to, does Path stick, and how long does it stick? Because even if it sticks for a turn, that's sometimes not enough. You're seeing here they're selling so much energy into play. Comes another VMAX, and Excel another energy into play. Can they find the Alchemy VMAX? If they don't one-hit KO us this turn, I think we're still in this. That's going to be the big question here is, does my opponent get the one-hit KO on my Dragapult VMAX? Here comes a Research. Will they find the Alchemy VMAX? And if they do, we can probably just go ahead and concede. There is the Evolution Incense. Here comes the big cake. And yeah, here comes the KO. If not, maybe they won't go for the KO. I guess they could choose to, hit with the Calyrex instead. So if my opponent goes that route, but no, there's the hard retreat. And I think they could even put one more energy in play. Okay, they can't put another energy in play. They do have to get rid of 6 energy. But the problem, like I said, is next turn they can just use Adornment, and then they Adornment, and then they're going to excel a bunch of energy into play again. And they don't have that many in the discard pile. They probably play around 12, so should easily be able to Adornment enough back into play, or just, attach to the active boss KO something off my bench. So I have to send up a Dragon Ball V to my active here. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to my opponent, but yeah, that's going to do it for the games with the Crushing Hammer Dragapult deck. Like I said, Shadow Rider, it feels like it's worse than a 50-50 matchup, but it might be around a 50-50. It's just when your opponent wins, it usually feels like you never have a hope. And when you win, it definitely feels like your opponent is just a top deck away from getting the dub. But it's not a terrible matchup for sure. It doesn't feel truly terrible because Path to the Peak, when it sticks, you can just take over games for sure. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the games with Dragapult. I'll see you tomorrow.